again, boys and girls. SgtMonster here. Now I'm going to do a small walkthrough of my gear and show you some of the stuff that I use and why I use it. Maybe that'll help you make some choices on your own gear. Now, one of the first things you should buy and one of the most important purchases you'll ever make in paintball is a mask. If you own no other piece of paintball equipment, own a mask. Now, I personally chose the V-Force Profiler after trying a couple of different masks. I actually like it for its field of vision and the way it fits. I also, you'll notice, use the amber lens. One of the reasons I use the amber lens is because much like shooting glasses, it allows you to get a little bit more definition out of shadows, and it also helps brighten up darker areas. Now, if you can go with tints and smokes or even the dynamic changing lenses, that's great. The problem you'll run into is if the weather changes, if it's overcast or you're in a really deep, dark woods, it's going to be hard to pick out a lot of detail. You'll also notice that I customized my mask by placing teeth on it. Now, you don't have to do this, and you got to be careful doing that. However, I find it's really nice to have a face in paintball other than just a stock mask. It helps people pick you out a little better and gives you an identifiable mark to call out. I can't tell you how many times in a game I've been called, "Hey teeth, look left," but you'll find it beneficial. Now, again, if you own nothing else, own a mask. Having your own mask and a mask that you trust will really dramatically improve your paintball experience. Now, the next piece of equipment we're going to cover is the one burning question. It is a question most often asked of anybody who plays paintball by anyone interested in getting into the game. And that's, what's the best gun to buy? Unfortunately, there is no blanket answer for this. This is an extremely personal choice you're going to have to make after lots and lots of trial and error. Now, my only guidance on this is going to be, do not go out and spend a whole lot of money on a high-speed tourney gun if you don't know if you're going to play paintball a lot or even if you're going to play that kind of paintball. Now, I had the benefit of starting paintball way back in the day when the height of paintball technology was the Splatmaster. For those of you who don't know, I'm not going to go into it a whole lot. Suffice it to say, this is a 10-shot, manually actuated pistol. Paintball's come a long way since this. Now, there are many different kinds of paintball markers you can get, as I alluded to. Now, I'm going to talk specifically about the marker that I've chosen for my style of play. The thing you need to remember is I am kitting out as a scenario paintball player. I am not playing speedball. I am not playing tourney ball. Those kits setups will be completely different. All of that being said, the marker that I've chosen for myself is a Tippmann A5. The reason I chose a Tippmann A5 are many. One of the most commonly modded guns, and the one marker that has the most available mods for it, is probably without a doubt the Tippmann A5. You can take this gun from its stock configuration and turn it into just about any marker out there. You can make it look like a space gun from the Colonial Marines all the way up to a fully operational M2 50 caliber machine gun. Now, a lot of players will tell you that all of the milsim geehaws you can add to your marker don't do anything but add weight. And for the most part, I'm going to agree with them. A lot of them, the personalization, the mods you can do to the A5 really are just shells and looks. They don't have any functional use. However, for the most part, most of the mods that I've done to my A5 have a purpose. Now, you'll notice I put a stock on it. I chose the M249 saw style stock versus the AR-15 or the car stock. One of the reasons for that is because this stock does angle down, as you can see off of the line of the marker, and it also is a little bit more stable. There's no wobble or anything. It also has a very nice cutout in the back. This makes the marker much easier to carry, and nothing makes a gun easier to bring to bear than rifle setup. Okay? Now, you'll also notice that I use a flatline barrel system. Now, the flatline barrel system has people who love it and people who hate it. And there is a bit of a learning curve involved in using it. The one good thing, a couple of good things a flatline barrel system does for you is it gives you at least 50 to 100 feet of effective range over any non-similarly equipped paintball marker. The only thing that can touch you is another flatline or an Apex barrel system. Now, that's not the primary reason I chose the flatline. The primary reason I chose the flatline was not really for the extended range, but for the fact that it actually flattens the trajectory of the ball from an arc to a oddly enough, a flat line. Especially at normal paintball ranges, this allows me to give a much more direct fire shot. Now another reason I chose the A5 is because of the Cyclone feed system, which is a large piece sticking off here on the right of the marker. Now what the Cyclone does basically is it's a direct feed system that is actuated by excess gas from the firing of the marker. Basically outgas or waste gases when the marker is fired operate this piston, which run a ratchet mechanism which directly feeds with a small finger a paintball into the breech of the marker every time it fires. What that means is as long as there is air going through the marker and it's triggered, it's going to cycle a Cyclone and it's going to feed paint into it. One less thing you got to worry about keeping batteries in. It just really simplifies your life a great deal. Now, speaking of trigger mechanisms, let's talk about that for a second. Most modern paintball markers are going to be electronic in nature. What that means is there's going to be a small computer control chip, there's going to be a 9-volt battery, and there's going to be a solenoid. This solenoid actually is what trips the spool inside the marker to fire. The A5 comes stock generally with a regular mechanical trigger. What that means is it is a spring-operated sear. There's actually a physical trip that has to happen every time you pull the trigger for the marker to fire. I kept my marker in this configuration for a couple of reasons. Number one, most fields you're going to ever play on for open rec play or even most scenarios are going to limit you to semi only. That means one trigger pull equals one ball. You cannot have multiple group firings, you cannot be firing full auto, you cannot allow different rampings and all that different stuff. It is one trigger pull equals one ball. Now you can do that with electronic triggers, you just have to remember to set it that way and you have to keep track of all of that. Another thing too is with a mechanical trigger, I never have to worry that I turn it on, it's battery fresh, it's going to physically function until something catastrophically fails, and if it does, I can fix it at the field, not on the field, but at the field fairly easily. Alright, well that pretty much covers primary marker. Now like a lot of Woodsball and Scenario guys, I also carry a secondary. I carry a Tiberius TAC-8 pistol. Now there are lots of pistols available on the market. You need to just make sure that you're going to get one that's a 68 caliber. There's a lot of 43 caliber pistols out there. Make sure you get one that's a 68 caliber paintball pistol. Now the thing I like about the Tiberius TAC-8 is it was the first magazine-fed paintball pistol. There's another version of the Tiberius I won't really go into, and there's also the SgtMon TPX. Now the SgtMon TPX, like I said, is also a magazine-fed pistol. The difference is on the TPX, the CO2 powerlet that actually fires the paintball is not part of the magazine system, it's actually housed in the gun housing. With the Tiberius, when you change paintballs, you actually change powerlet. I actually like that better. I like it better as a separate compartmental system. Basically, this is the guts of the marker and this is the actuation system. I like that system better. Some people prefer the TPX. Again, intensely personal choice, trial and error, and you figure it out. Now, a pistol is not an entry-level purchase. This is something you need to make sure you want before you purchase it. I would say play the game of paintball at least 4 to 6 months and see if you think a pistol is going to suit your style of play before you go and pick one up. Don't get one just to get tactical. The next thing we're going to cover are going to be air systems and ball hauling gear. Now, I've tried a lot of different things over the years, from pod belts to satchels to thigh dump bags to LBE suspender setups to some custom-made stuff I made myself. What I've actually migrated to in the last year or so is a tactical vest, and I'm going to say that I've really enjoyed it. Now the vest that I've been using is the SgtMon Assault Vest. I'm not going to go a whole lot into the vest. There are lots of other sites that will give you a good review of it. I'm just going to go over the way I have it set up. Again, one of the things about the vest is all of the front pouches are modular, so you can reorder them. And one of the other big things is it has a camelback carry. This is crucial. If you do not carry water with you on the field during bigger scenario games, you are going to really, really learn to regret that. Now, a lot of people ask why a lot of us scenario guys wear all this extra crap, like these vests. Not only does it allow it to carry our gear a little better, but generally the main reason we do that is to get our air off the gun. A lot of speedball guys play air on and use the air tank actually as a stock on their marker, which is fine. But for scenario guys, we usually have stocks on our markers and we just want to get the air off of it. Now if you want to wear air off and wear it on your back, whether it's on a pod belt or whether it's in a tactical vest, you're going to want to get a good remote line. Now, there are lots of things that define a good remote line. A lot of people talk to you about valves and dwell and all of that. I'm not going to harp on you about that. The one important thing you have to have is you have to have a slide check, which is this small valve right here. What that allows you to do is to shut off the air supply from the tank without having to use the valve that's on your back. So you can remove the line from your marker and put it down. Basically, you slide it back to turn it off, slide it forward to turn it on. It makes your life a lot easier. Now, another thing I'm always going to recommend to anybody who wears air off and wears it in a pack or anything else, for about $30, you can buy from Ninja Paintball, who I found is one of the best suppliers of this little thing called a remote fill whip. It's basically a hose that connects from back to the tank on your back. This allows you to fill it at the air station without having to take off your entire gear pack. This is money well spent. I highly, highly recommend you buy one of these. Now, a lot of players also are going to wear pads. A lot of people are going to deal with elbow and knee pads. Personally, I don't wear elbow pads. You'll find that most paintball jerseys have padding in the elbows. I don't feel that I need more padding. I do, however, wear knee pads, and I wear a very specific style of knee pad. These are the Flurry Reaver knee pads. Now, the thing that I like about these versus most other knee pads you're going to find is this portion right here sits on your knee. This is also a shin guard. This is awesome because nothing is worse than knocking your phone on a pallet or a bunker or a branch in the middle of a game. Now, that's a broad brush view of a lot of my gear. If you have any questions about anything specific or you'd like me to go into more detail, please feel free to respond, give me a comment, and I'll try to answer your question as directly as I can. Again, thanks for watching, and as always, it's been fun. Sergeant Monster, out.